Now I continue today in 1 Timothy chapter 3, and we've made it down to the last clause of verse number 2. Then I'll try today to move into verse number 3 if we're able to get finished. This is a true saying, if a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach. The first clause of verse number 3 is, not given to wine. So there's a positive, given to hospitality, and a negative, not given to wine. Also, the construction of the verse is very interesting. I know that many times we deal only with the second qualification, the husband of one wife, and if a man is quote-unquote right with his marriage, we throw everything else aside and we say, well, he's absolutely qualified to be a bishop, and the bishop would be a pastor. But the text says a bishop then must be blameless, he must be the husband of one wife, he must be vigilant, he must be sober, he must be of good behavior, he must be given to hospitality, he must be apt to teach, he must not be given to wine, he must not be a striker, he must not be greedy of filthy lucre, and on the passage goes. So again, we always deal with the second of these qualifications and utterly ignore the balance of them. I had a man ask me the other day a very interesting question, a man that hears the Bright Spot Hour and supports the Bright Spot Hour. And he said, I want to ask you a question. And I said, all right, ask any question you want. And he said, what is the difference between an elder and a bishop? And I replied to him, and this is the answer I gave him. The bishop and the elder in the Pauline epistles is the same office. We do not recognize elder boards and then bishops. The elder and the bishop, in the light of the context, how Paul uses the term, are used interchangeably. But the matter of the bishop is a reference to the office, while the matter of an elder is a reference to the man. And I don't think that all pastors are to be old men, elderly men. But there are some men that people respond to as elders. There are some men that older members of the congregation would still view a younger pastor, or I should say a pastor younger than them, in a position of honor and dignity, a position of being an elder among men. My pastor, I appreciate my pastor in a definite way. He's 10 years older than I am. But at the same time, we have men in our church that are 10 years older than my pastor. And yet they recognize him and regard him, though he's 10 years younger than they are, they still recognize him and esteem him in a position of an elder. I think that's the distinction I find in the King James text. The bishop and the elder is the same office. The bishop and the elder is the pastor of the local assembly. There's no doubt about that. But the reason the translators would use elder in one passage and bishop in another. Now back to this matter of apt to teach. The passage states, a bishop then must be apt to teach. Now this statement is not made about an evangelist, nor is it made particularly about a missionary. I think that the office of the apostles that I read about in Ephesians 4 would be fulfilled by our missionaries, our men that go out to the mission field and take their families to another country and labor on the mission field in an effort to evangelize the unsaved. And yet I don't read necessarily that they are, quote unquote, apt to teach. A man that qualifies for the office of the bishop must have and be possessed of a teaching quality. Now, there are some men that I think are pastoring local churches that would probably be much better suited to be in an evangelistic ministry. And there are some men that are doing an evangelistic work that I think would probably be better suited because of their preaching style and their ability in the pulpit would probably be much better suited to pastor a church. And part of that is right here at this area of apt to teach. He is apt to teach. Not all men have an ability to teach. Not all men are given to teaching. You can't send a young 20-year-old or 18-year-old high school graduate to the university and that young person says, I'm going to become a school teacher, and they spend 4 years in college earning a teaching degree. But that teaching degree is utterly ineffective if there is not a natural ability, a God-given gift, a God-given ability in that person to teach. If they're not apt to teach, it really doesn't matter how many degrees they may have. They can academically, formally know what teaching is and not be able to do it. And I'm not throwing stones at anybody, and I'm not showing any disrespect to anyone, God forbid. But there are some people that are just not apt to teach. It's not their fault. I'm not blaming them. I'm not throwing stones at them. Some people can teach and some people can't. Some people can sing and some people can't. I mean, if you don't have an ear to be able to carry a tune in a bucket, then that's nobody's fault. You just don't have an ear for music. And there are some people that have an ear for music and they can sing on pitch and in time, but their voice is not equipped to sing. They begin singing, they lose a voice in 5 minutes, and they're husky and rough voice the rest of the night. They just can't sing. They're not apt to sing. So it is with this matter of apt to teach. The matter of teaching is the matter of giving instruction. It is an ability to inform or an ability to communicate to another person the knowledge that that person before was ignorant of. An ability to teach someone something they don't know. Now, that is the gift of teaching. Isaiah chapter number 2, the Bible states, He will teach us of His ways, and we will walk in His paths. The matter of teaching, it is imparting knowledge to someone that they're ignorant of today, and the ability to impart that knowledge to them so that they can know that. The matter of teaching is an ability to deliver doctrine. It is an ability to deliver the principles or words for instruction. An ability again to teach. An ability to take what you understand and impart that into the understanding of someone else. I've been around people before, and I've had teachers in school. Now, I've been out of school a long time, over 40 years I've been out of school. But I remember having teachers in school, no disrespect to them. And they went into teaching. Maybe they thought that's what they wanted to do and very quickly got out of teaching. And I sat in their classes for a year, and I have no idea what was covered. I know what the subject matter was. I know what the curriculum called it. And I passed the classes and got out, but I have no idea what they were trying to teach. Part of that's my fault. I didn't become a serious student until my 11th and 12th grade years. But those 2 years, my 11th and 12th grade years, I was just as serious a student as any student in my class. And some of my teachers just didn't have the ability to teach. I'm not faulting them. They were not able to deliver any doctrine. It is to give intelligence out. Teaching is the ability to give intelligence out. It is an ability to instruct individuals, to not only instruct them, but to show them, to exhibit so as to impress it upon the mind, to impress upon them what they need to understand. Now I say this without any fear, but Paul states that the bishop must be apt to teach. He must have a teaching component, a teaching element to his ministry. And now an evangelist is an exhorter. A missionary is occupied with evangelization and trying to evangelize men and women from sin to salvation. But a pastor, a bishop who is going to be with a group of people, in some instances 40, 45 years, must have an ability to teach those folk. The pastorate is more than just exhortation in trying to exhort people. It is an area of the impartation of Bible doctrine. My time is gone today. The Lord willing, I will be with you again on tomorrow.
Office Box 4, Greenville, South Carolina 29602. This is Mark Ferguson saying be by your radio tomorrow for the bright